Recording, check. Yeah, I think we're good. Check.
All right, everyone, stand by. Life changes in 5, 4, 3, 2.
We're back, and our performance guest is singer-songwriter and so much more we're about to find out. Paul Greene. Welcome, Paul, to the Life Changes Show.
Thanks so much for having me. How are you guys doing?
We are great. We just had a great interview, and now, it's interesting, actually, because I actually see a similarity between what our guest did. She's a Hollywood actress turned healer. Well, you're still a Hollywood actor, and you're turned singer-songwriter, but it was always in her, in a sense. It's always been in you. How has it always been in you, the music?
Yeah, I mean, from the earliest age of being forced to sit through church is where it came from, really. And then I was like, honestly, I grew up very religious and very, I guess, in a Protestant, very Pentecostal. So the music was quite lively and quite excitable. So, and then just for me to kind of endure it all, I learned to play drums so that I was actually in church and could tolerate being there so many hours a week.
The loudest one in the room.
Yeah, I was. And then just my dad, everybody played music. My dad, growing up, hearing my dad play guitar, my mom played organ. It was just, it was around me. But then I met this hot model when I was 18 who, played guitar and she loved Jesus in a different kind of way that I was used to. And I was like, if I'm going to be with that person, I need to learn guitar and, stop doing this crazy stuff. And that was a big moment. And so I traveled with my guitar for like 18 years around the world and started writing songs, and the music kind of found me that way.
You were actually traveling around the world. Why?
Modeling. Yeah, modeling took me when I was in a Canadian guy named Kelly Strite saw me dancing on a speaker apparently with my shirt off and eating an apple. This is what his story is. I vaguely remember the night. I don't know. It was like I was in college on a volleyball scholarship, and someone's like, "You got to go to this club. Kelly's going to be there, and I think you could model." And so I went there, and he saw me, and he invited me behind the Velvet Rope Society, which is where the supermodels were at that point. Tricia Helfer, who had just won Ford Supermodel of the World, and then he found the next day, took pictures, and my life changed that night. And that's kind of how I got out of Alberta, Canada, to see the world. And then I knew I would end up in LA for acting, because I was dreaming on the farm of being on set in Jean-Claude Van Damme, Bloodsport. I watched that movie and I kept waking up in Bloodsport, fighting and acting. And I was like, I have to act. And I was at 16. And so eventually made my way back around to acting through modeling and music. And it's just kind of all the three of them just kind of hung out for quite decades, really.
Just watching your face, you're reminiscing.
Yeah. There's a lot there, man.
All those crazy times, and on all that time, you had your faithful guitar with you. Might have been a different one, but
yeah, very different guitars along the way, and I used it to tell people about God, I guess, which is in the moment, and not from I don't know. It was it came everywhere. I wrote 60 songs, and it would stand on subways and subway trains and in big train stations and just sing. And it was a really profound time in my 20s. No sex, no drugs, just all God and music. And I was so focused on one thing, which is pleasing God, that I had so much of that sexual energy put into, I got my pilot's license when I was 22 and saved up money and bought real estate, bought an airplane.
Wow.
Learned how to cook from living with families rather than model apartments. I found a French family, Italian family, a Filipino family, and learned how to cook and then learn their language, like put myself in school. It was crazy. It was like the most my 20s were so focused because I wasn't just getting high and trying to find girls or get in bed with girls all throughout my 20s. It was really an interesting flip.
I'm feeling a new genre, God and rock and roll.
Right. I know.
Although actually the genre is more Americana / country-ish, right?
Yeah, it's whatever, I would say it, because it's not quite country, except for the last album I did was in Nashville, and it was all Nashville superstars who were session players playing. Smith Curry, who's played on, Randy Travis, 7 number ones, Pedal Steel, he produced it. And so he brought with him all these superstar ringers for day players for my album. And so it was a unique way to do an album, but it sounds very Nashville, my last one. But the one before was done here in LA with Sam Babayan, who's in the Medicine Circle. And Sam, you probably know Sam. Yeah, Sam.
We've had him on the show.
You've had Sam on the show?
Yes. Oh my gosh, he's amazing.
Sam is he really, so he produced my first record here and has just been, he brought me into the Troubadour and the Hotel Cafe. He's been a big part of my music sound. Him and Fernando is one of his producing buddies.
How cool. Well, actually, we're going to get to hear something that has all the elements of what we've talked about. We're going to get to talk more in just a little bit, but happy to say that Paul Greene is with us. He's going to be performing live here online on the Life Changes show. Here is his song. Actually, it speaks for itself, right?
This song, Freedom? I guess so, yeah. It's a very recent song, and it's watching things happening with Ukraine and with politics and everybody trying to tell people what to do. This song kind of came out of both COVID and then what happened is what's been going on in Europe and just the state of what everyone's kind of after. The song's called Freedom. It sounds really political, my song. It's crazy that the word freedom is so political, but just the way it shakes out, I guess.
That's the moment for sure. Here's Paul Greene live on the Life Changes show with his song Freedom.
Awesome. All right, I'm going to put on my reverb and I'm using a looping pedal, so usually it goes really well with this thing, but it's sometimes it adds the element of surprise because it is a technical instrument on its own and it's old, so I'm a man of God, a man of the devil too. Often wind up doing the things that I know I shouldn't do. In an upside down world where war don't make much sense, I find myself with brothers now on both sides of the fence. All I want, all I need is freedom. I'm gonna get me some. If you raise his taxes, if you take away his guns, You take away his right to use, well, he's gonna shoot someone. He said this is God's country, the land of the free, and that peaceful, easy feeling, man, it isn't guaranteed. All he wants, all he needs is freedom. Gonna get him some. He's gonna get him some. Tell her that she can't do that. If you tell her that she ain't strong, well, she'll move the tallest mountains just to show you you were wrong. She was born on a motorbike. Yeah, she's got a lot of fight. Yeah, she's as tough as nails, ain't afraid to fail. She'll love you good and right. All she wants, all she needs is freedom. She's gonna get her some.
Freedom and Paul Greene. Thank you for that. You can find Paul Greene actually everywhere. Paul Greene. Greene is Greene, so paulgreene.com. Find him at Paul Greene Official on most of the socials, I think. So we have links for him at lifechangeshow.com. But Paul Greene, you'll find him. Actually, where did we find that song? Is it out yet?
Yeah, and that's one of the ones that was done in Nashville. So it has pedal steel, and it sounds really polished. I like the song sounding kind of just like this, but it's interesting.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Yeah,
doing it unplugged for us.
Yeah, no, I like it like that. And sometimes, like I said, sometimes the looper, it's one of these old RC30s, and I don't know. There's times when it's just rock solid, and you hit it on the downbeat. Then there's other times you do it just the same, but the loop comes in at another time. So I've had it.
It thinks it knows better.
It does. And
it's that, like, trust me, it's going to help you.
That's right. Unless it's because it could never be me being off in that moment. No, it has to be the machine. It's like I always blame. I'm like, there's something wrong with the looper. It's probably just my timing. But
you said this the freedom. Politicization of freedom or what have you, and this kind of all started during COVID. Well, a lot started during COVID. As a matter of fact, you started something else. Was it just before COVID, or or did it take off during COVID? Tell us about your lives.
Yeah, it was right at the live streaming part of my music, which really, it goes back to Sam. It goes a little further back. So I did a movie with a Christmas movie, and in it was Dick Van Dyke and Angela Lansbury and.
What one's that?
It's called Buttons, and Kate Winslet's narrating it with Robert Redford, and I got this offer to be in this movie, and my team thought it was a scam because it was like nobody even thought that Angela Lansbury and Dick Van Dyke were still making movies. This was like 4 years ago. But the director, I finally got in touch with them, and I fired actually that manager who I was working with. They were this huge company, and I would have missed this really cool opportunity. But I did the movie, and the director does this fundraiser at Carnegie Hall with Kate Winslet for autism, and he heard my cover of Hallelujah, which I had on YouTube for 10 years or something, and he said, "Do you want to come do Hallelujah at Carnegie Hall with 200 choir and 100 symphony?" And so I said yes, but then I did a ceremony with Sam, and I was so touched by him. I was like, "Do you want to help me do this album and get ready for Carnegie Hall?" So he introduced me to his singing teacher, Mark Goodman, and then so this kind of journey was happening, and recorded an album and did Carnegie Hall, and then everything happened with the shutdowns and with COVID. And I had a TV show I was on for 5 years called When Calls a Heart, and they had asked me to do a Facebook Live before my character's main episode of that season. I think it was season 8 or 9. And I said, "Sure, what is that?" And then I hadn't really done a Facebook Live. Really. I had done one for a couple movies, like just interviews, but then I was like, all right, I'm going to do a 30-minute music set. And 5,000 people came to my Facebook because Hallmark promoted it. And I'm sitting there playing music to 5,000 people over Facebook. I'm like, okay, there's something here. So I got such a high from it, and then I realized everyone's stuck at home. So I went live 3 times a week, and that was almost, I guess, 5 years now, 4.5 years ago, and I've done about 1,000 live streams. If you count like every show as like one. So, but every show was really 6 or 7 because I streamed to all the platforms kind of at once.
For hours.
Yeah, I think my record's 4.5 hours. When I was in Vancouver shooting a movie, I just started playing, and I use a program so I can see the chords, and so people make requests, and then if I've heard the song, I can kind of figure it out. And a lot of the times I'm figuring stuff out for the first time, which is part of, I think, of the fun of the lives.
And you talk to people, and it's not just about talking to people. Like, I got a good sense of this. Is you really have a lot of messages, and you really want to share them.
Yeah, I guess my partner Kate and I have this company called Freedom Alchemist, and I guess I've always had, when I look back at like traveling Europe with my guitar trying to tell people about Jesus, feeling I need to save the world, right? I feel like maybe I still have a bit of that, but it's much more like waking people up in a sense to not just like to driving in their life, not just being a passenger in a sense. And then I do the health and well-being. I have my functional nutrition degree. And so, we do detoxes with Mark Hyman's people, and we take people kind of through this journey of sort of waking up to eating real food and not just being programmed by your phone or your TV. Like, it's a whole lifestyle design. And so usually on my lives, I share little kind of nuggets just like throughout the conversation, about being kind and gentle to yourself and your thoughts on purpose, like just a little bit from the Tao or something. It's kind of all over the place, but the songs I play kind of prompt sort of a conversation. And yeah, I guess I'm just trying to remind people that they're a lot bigger than just their algorithm and their confirmation bias that people just they get in these bubbles. And I'm like, it's just one perspective. There's so many ways to look at this beautiful flying thing of dirt out in space, like, and your experience on it between your dashes is so short. Like, make it count. Just don't do it to please somebody else or to like get love or affection or appreciation or impress your father or something. Like actually you can live this life in a way that's like unique to you, and it's actually life or death. You have to, because you just have this little tiny time on earth to live your full expression of who you are rather than who you think others want you to be or some BS like that. So that's kind of the conversations that we have, and I love it. I think it's amazing.
I just had a thought. I'm sure you've thought of it, and you've probably been asked and turned it down because it's the way that we've been watching TV, and we're looking for drama, or we need that kind of a hit. But your son came on before we went live, and then I think I heard Kate in the background, definitely while we were talking yesterday, and she sounded so sweet. And I'm thinking, what about a reality show of a real family like you all?
Yeah. I mean, it's quite a thing to put yourself out in that way. It would have to be the highest form of like, I feel like sometimes people do that in a narcissistic way. So it would have to,
Right.
I would have to check myself so many times to make sure that my intentions were right. Like to actually not do like to, and Kate's so private. Like, that would really work. I could not imagine Kate doing that. I'm like the extrovert and she's an introvert. So
I'm just saying that
Yeah.
to see that kind of an example, like how you were being a father with your son,
Right.
And actually, and this carries through. And before you do the second song, talk about nuggets. This nugget of what you shared with me yesterday, I thought was really interesting. You kind of said in passing what I ended up focusing on. So, like, you sing for convalescent homes or retirement homes, but you had this thing that you said kind of in passing under your breath, that you actually have somebody seek out homes where people don't get a lot of attention or don't get a lot of visitors, and
Yeah.
that's the one you go to.
Yeah, I remember listening to Tony Robbins on this old tape, and he goes, if you're depressed, go to a nursing home or a retirement home and ask them at the front who never gets read to, and go read to that person. So it was inspired a bit by that. It was like, and if you're depressed or feeling anxious or unfulfilled, it's probably because you're trying to live so much for yourself and get your needs met or feel good or something weird like that. When it's like flipped, you just have to go do things for others in a way that's of service. And then like, it doesn't take 10 minutes into being in that retirement home or sitting with that person, looking at that like 80 or 90-year-old face as you're reading them like a children's book or something. It's just like there's few things that can kind of light that up like that. And then when I get to play music for them, I get to time travel them back to Elvis or Johnny Cash or some old gospel. So I watch them age in reverse in front of me, basically, because they're connecting to 50 years before some music that made them feel a certain way, Yeah.
Thank you for doing that. Thank you for sharing that. This song we're going to enjoy actually is it a sad song?
No.
It's not?
No. It's a song of redemption. I don't want to give it's very self-explanatory, but it's a conversation, this song, in the Bible, actually, between the angels and Mary, who's looking for the body of Jesus. And this is a song I got to do at Carnegie Hall the next year. They invited me back, so I did okay. And then this is a song that's on Spotify on this really cool playlist. I'll try to get it for you guys after, but that's doing really cool in this playlist that has a bunch of people in it. But this song's one of my oldest songs. I wrote this when I was 20, and I'm 50.
What was the inspiration?
This moment, just being, reading this part of the Bible, and I was just kind of finding God. And some of my favorite parts of the Bible are the ones where there's conversations between like spiritual beings, like angels talking to shepherds or angels talking to soldiers or something like. So this is a moment where they are looking for the body of Jesus, and this song, the way it's recorded that Sam Babayan, that you've had on the show, is my favorite sounding music I've ever made, is because he had his old Gretsch and we had a trumpet player come in. It was just, it's very Americana, this song. But I connect, it's a song of freedom, I guess, in a sense as well.
Yeah, I'm sensing a theme. Your company with Kate is Freedom Alchemist, right? And you just played Freedom.
And yeah.
Well, we get to hear it here live. They're going to have to go and get it in order to hear the whole production, but it's going to give a whole different meaning, I think, or experience, definitely, with you live. Here is Paul Greene,
great,
performing The Stone live on the Life Changes Show on Line Edition.
All right, we got the reverb back on. Let's see how the looper's going to behave, or at least my use of it. So I have to create a beat for it first.
Paul Greene and the Stone.
Yeah.
So Paul Greene, Greene. So find him at paulgreene.com. Find him all over socials at Paul Greene Official. And Paul, it's so funny. If I had listened to that song 10 seconds more, I would have known exactly what it was about. So I had just heard from a friend of mine that her husband, also a friend of mine, had just passed. And so within the hour, I was listening to your music, and I came across the Stone, and I heard, "Woman, why are you weeping? He's no longer here." And I thought, oh no, I can't do this right now. And I went to another song. So that's why I said, is this a sad song?
Because you should have
Because
stuck with it. You could have stuck into it.
that would have been the song to listen to at that moment.
For sure, especially in the studio version. There's this young kid we found who plays trumpet in it. In the moment where this whole song lifts and shifts is this big trumpet part, like the Angels playing the trumpet. I'm really proud of it. Sam's such an artist, man. I felt so out of my league, but so in my heart with Sam. It was really cool.
Well, thank you. We got to learn so much about you and your music, and looking forward to much more, actually, because it feels like we all need more of this. And I love how the Canadian is bringing Americana in the
Yeah, I don't know if there's such thing as Canadiana, but but Coulter Wall is. I don't know if you're familiar with him. If not, you're welcome, because your life's about to change. Coulter Wall is from Saskatchewan, and he's an actual rancher, farmer guy who has a voice like Johnny Cash if you lit it on fire with whiskey or something. Like, it makes Johnny Cash sound smooth, his voice. And so there's a real root sound coming that's out of Canada, obviously, because of the climate and the prairies, Yeah.
Well, it made a wonderful combination in you, and thank you for sharing it in all the ways that you have. All the best to you. Thank you, Paul. Paul Greene.
You're welcome. Thanks. My pleasure, man. Thanks for giving me a chance to play and share my story a bit. All right. Nice to meet you guys again.
It's been great. Look forward to more.
Okay.
Well, with a big thank you to Paul Greene, and another big thank you to our interview guest, Melanie Martin. That is our show. On behalf of our executive producer, Dorothy Lee Donahue, and our executive producer and co-host, Mark Lejour, I am your host, Filippo Voltaggio, reminding you that as your life changes, like ours surely did tonight, we're here for you. Ciao, everyone. It's a wrap.
All right. Well, Mark, I'm glad you reached out, man. I'm gonna go play some volleyball down, like get this body moving, like pretending I'm not my age, and go play with a bunch of youngsters and do my best to try.